Hello, and welcome to Germantown Municipal Television's special coverage of Election 2018. My name is Emma Holley, a student at Houston High, and I'm excited to bring you interviews with Germantown Board of Education candidates. Joining me now is a candidate for the Board of Education Position 4, Angela Griffith. Ms. Griffith is a third-generation Germantown resident who has worked in various positions, including the Regional Sales Manager for St. Clair Foods, a court-appointed special advocate, and the second vice chair on the board of Farmington Presbyterian Day School. She has 2 children that are currently in the GMSD public school system. She's here to give us some insight into her plans as a Board of Education member for the city of Germantown. Thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you for having me.
So to start off, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on the Board of Education?
As you mentioned in the introduction, and thank you for that, I am a longtime Germantown resident. I grew up in this education community as well locally. Not only attended Riverdale Elementary, which is one of our wonderful schools, I also attended Germantown High School. As you also mentioned, I have 2 children currently in the system of GMSD. They are 5th and 2nd grade at Dogwood. I feel like after the initial 4, almost 5 years of having our own school district, we are kind of at a crossroads, if you will, a pivotal point where we need to be thinking ahead, not constantly thinking to just next year, next year, next year. A little reactive approach that I feel like we've kind of been on up until this point. So much of why I feel like my business experience, not only in managing budgets, this is a $60 million organization, this Germantown Municipal School District, and I think that from a financial management standpoint, that is a crucial factor of a board member that is going to be needed as a variety of voices that we bring to the table as a collective group. And I think that my experience not only in business, but in some of my advocacy with children at the juvenile court level has been something that has prepared me to get ready for this role.
Okay, so since Germantown Municipal School District has opened, what accomplishment are you most proud of as a Germantown resident?
I can tell you without a doubt that the input, or excuse me, the focus on community involvement and engagement has been something that I tell people, shout it from the rooftops when people ask me about our school system. I think that with having only the 5 schools that we are currently in charge of, just seeing what we do as a community, not only community involvement, but reminding all the students from kindergarten to 12th grade how important it is. Service over self, truly. Like, this is, of course, school. It is about learning first and foremost, but it's also about life. And the Pay It Forward club and group at Riverdale Elementary, I think that is so phenomenal. I think it is wonderful to not only instill that identifying, excuse me, the need for service in the community, but instilling at such a young age that this is so important. All of the nonprofit support that we have been given at all the school levels, and getting the community, the student community involved, and just showing them how they can come together and help a greater good. I think that that's one of the best things that our district has done up to date.
Okay, so what do you see as the value of having our own school district?
Well, we can recognize our needs from being in the community. I think that there's a lot to be said for someone at a state level assuming kind of what needs to happen in Germantown, Tennessee. Even at the county level, our needs are different than some of our neighbors even. And the closer we have control and autonomy over our decisions that are meeting to meet our immediate needs and our future needs, I think that is so important, not to be generalized necessarily, and having a little bit more of a direct correlation with what's going on right here in our town as opposed to from afar.
Okay, so what would you like to see Germantown Municipal School District accomplishing in the future?
Well, I think first and foremost, having the capacity and facilities that inspire and allow for us to be our best selves. If our specific motto, if you will, and mission is excellence always, I think excellence always is something that goes very much into where we learn, how we learn. So having the ability to do that in a classroom with a reasonable amount of people so that students and teachers both aren't having to handle the burden of the overcrowded situation, I think that's first and foremost something that we need to address.
Okay, so what state legislative concerns do you have for our district?
Well, to your point just a moment ago, locally run schools. There are some initiatives going on right now where they are wanting to look at small school districts like us and see, especially in Shelby County, that's one that they're looking at, taking all into consideration the recently developed municipal schools in our area. I think that it's very important that we continue to promote and champion our cause as a small municipal school district, so that the people in Nashville don't look at us and say, well, there's too many school districts in this small geographic region. Why is that, and what's the benefit of that? I think it's very beneficial, as I just stated, so I think that's one of the main things. Something else that's so important to me is not only funding, but testing. We understand the purpose of testing, and we also understand that it is necessary in order to receive some of the funds that we need to do the things I just described I'd like to see happen sooner than later. That said, I think the input that we take in and the emphasis that we put on it could be greatly backed down, and I think that we've seen some headway in that with the Tennessee Ready Task Force, and we've seen some reduction in testing time and testing prep time in the classroom time, which is really designed to learn, not to prepare for an assessment. So I think that we need to continue to foster that as well.
Okay. In the era of school choice, how do you see yourself not only just promoting our district, but also promoting public education in general?
I'm a huge proponent of public education, and my family personally, we have a choice. Several people we know that are currently within our district and outside of our district, we hear about that. I think a value is the primary thing. People that have choice in other schools, whether it be charter schools or public schools or even being in a homeschool scenario, I think that the value of what the product you bring. So we have wonderful education here, and again, as I said, we have wonderful community involvement, a lot of good things that we are doing. But when people look at the, I like to call them elderly facilities in a lot of cases, and the overcrowding, I think that people think to themselves, maybe from public school right this second in this community is something that has to be considered. So those two things, I think, as a public school proponent, we need to continue to make what we bring to the community the best option, and we want to be the best option.
Yeah. So what concerns do you have about education funding in our district?
Well, excuse me, I think that it is, it's crucial that we identify them and we maximize the use of them. And part of that is going to come from being willing to ask for it where it is available, and part of it is going to be coming from working with others to identify other sources. I think that there's a lot of local community ability to support the certain things. One of the main things that I have spoken to on the campaign trail, if you will, has been to trade school and some abilities just within our community to have some mentoring programs. We have some wonderful locally developed companies just in our city here in Germantown that have expressed interest in wanting to support those people pursuing non-college paths in high school, and helping get some great productive businesses back in, Germantown students back into local businesses as part of a sort of succession plan and a mentoring process.
Okay. So how would you strengthen and nurture the relationship with the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to ensure that our students' needs are being met?
I think that is a big part of why I'm doing what I'm doing. I feel as though my business experience and willing to negotiate with people, it's a two-way street. Reciprocity is key when you're partnering with anyone. And I think that us working not in side by side, but more in tandem is going to be crucial right now more than ever. But I want to foster that and continue it. I don't want there to be a perception that they only come to us, the board, when they're looking for a handout or when they're looking for money. I want us to work together, because I'm going to tell you, people come to this city because of the success of the schools, and people will continue to come to this city because of the success of the schools. So everyone has a vested interest. So the people that the mayor and aldermen represent are just as much part of the stakeholder community that is going to be impacted if the schools succeed, and if the schools do not succeed. It's a twofold.
Yeah. So how will you foster partnerships with groups that are going to support our school?
Back to the reciprocity, I think it's so important in a partnership. It's a give and take. What do two people bring together that can benefit each other? So we have to, again, foster respect and identify people that can help us and that we can also benefit.
Okay. So the district is building a new elementary school and added a new wing to Riverdale in the last year to address overcrowding in the district. What other capital project do you think needs to be done in our district?
To the point of expansion, I think that the new elementary school is absolutely needed, and I'm so excited for it to be here August of next year. To the point of the Riverdale expansion, though, however, throughout this process, as that was going on. As I mentioned, I was a Riverdale student myself for a long time. It was a long time ago, but it was for a long time, a big part of my life. And what a lot of residents don't realize is that that addition was actually just to get students from portables inside the building. It did not indeed add any significant capacity, which is why 5 weeks in to the second year of that beautiful development, we're still having overcrowding at the middle school level at Riverdale, which is concerning. And I think that the middle school at Houston Middle, they are at a crux right now with having a lack of usable space. And the immediate need, in my opinion, from a facility standpoint, is going to go to the expansion of that, hopefully with 8 additional classrooms, some lab area increased, and then, of course, a second gym.
Okay, well, great. Thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thank y'all so much for having me.
Yes. Now that's all the time we have for this interview. I'd like to thank my guest, Angela Griffith, who is running for Germantown Board of Education Position 4. If you'd like to watch more of our election coverage, please follow us on Facebook and YouTube at Germantown Municipal Television. We hope you will join us on Election Day for our live exit polling numbers for the Germantown Mayor, Alderman, and Board of Education campaigns. You can watch us on Comcast Channel 17, AT&T UVerse Channel 99, and on our YouTube page. We'll be back with more interviews from Germantown Board of Education candidates.